talk crazy about me. That's fine. They should express themselves, and they have a right to. But I also get to say whatever the fuck I want about you now.
The More Power Hour.
I told that motherfucker I was alpha, but I didn't tell him I surrounded myself with generals. It's easy for me right now. You know what I'm saying? If people would shut up, I wouldn't have as much to say.
Hello, and welcome back to the More Power Hour podcast. This is Penelope Serona, and Mill is still my guest, and we've been talking about aliens and all kinds of crazy shit.
It's not crazy, it's real.
Well, it's not crazy. You're absolutely. We've been talking about some wild shit. How about that? Wild's just a way to describe it, because it is wild when you think about the concept of, you know, there's this world that's existing with our world that we can't see. Like, that's a wild idea. I think you're right. I think that more than likely that is what it is, because, you know, like all those scientists and shit say that, you know, energy can't be created or destroyed, so if it can't, then the human soul is supposedly one of the most powerful things in the world. How could it be destroyed by death, you know? I think that it's just our body doesn't go on.
That's it.
But I think the rest of us goes on, and then I think that we're reincarnated too. Eventually. I think eventually we get washed back in. And we just don't remember it.
I don't really believe in reincarnation.
Oh, I don't know. I do and I don't. Like, I do because that makes sense, but I don't because it doesn't make sense. Like, you would think, like, if I would have been, like, I don't know, the fucking Queen of England 400 or 500 years ago, I should remember that. You know what I mean? But you wouldn't. Or if I was like Joan of Arc, or if I was, you know, Vladimir the Impaler, which would make a whole lot of fucking sense. At this juncture in my life, that would make sense. If I become a crazy man and just started staking people up a hill as a driveway.
It's a different life form from, you know, that's not really life, but it's, you know, just exist.
But I mean, we're all going to find out someday. It doesn't really matter. Eventually, we all die, so we've all figure out.
Definitely,
what
everybody
happens.
dies.
Everybody gets to. That's the only thing we're all equal in. We're all born and we're all killed by something. Maybe not a person per se, but like we're all killed by something.
Some, very few, but there's some just old age dies natural causes.
Well, even natural causes are something that killed you. Like, the heart muscle got weak and your heart stopped beating and you died in your sleep. Your heart muscle killed you. Your heart quit working and it killed you.
Well, yeah.
We all die from something in some way or another. I guess
It's just like a car. When the battery runs down, it won't start.
Right. Like, that's all the heart is, really, at the end of the day, is a big battery that powers the giant computer that is our brain. And our air filters, we're just like meat cars.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that either. I'm not sure where that came from. But yeah, we're kind of like meat cars, I guess. You know, we got fluid and air filters and batteries and computers and headlights. Oh. I think rape has gotten worse over the years. I think that, like, back in, like, the 50s and the 60s, like, men, yeah, they might have beat their wives, but men didn't just go out and rape women the way it happens now.
It's always been something like that.
It's always been
people,
bad,
you
but
know?
I feel like it's getting worse. Because you hear, I guess maybe it's just you hear about it more.
That's radio and TV.
Well, no, I
and
mean,
phones.
like, if I'm being honest, almost every girl I know at some point in her life has been assaulted or harassed by a man or woman. Some of them have been harassed by women. You know, that happens too. But, like, when I would talk to my mom about it when I was younger, like, she didn't know anybody who had been assaulted or raped or anything like that. And
Really?
yeah, and now that I think about it as an adult, I don't think it's that she didn't know anybody. I think it was just that at the time, in the culture, especially around here, like, you were lucky if a woman admitted their husband. Like, she could come in with 2 black eyes and be like, oh, I fell. And that was just how it was. You know, now if a woman walked into her place of work with a black eye or 2 black eyes, like, the cops would be called. There'd be a big rigmarole about it on the news.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe it's not getting worse. Maybe it's attention's being brought to it more. It's crazy how the world has changed in just, you know, in my lifetime. You know, my most formative memory is 9/11. That's one of my first big memories. I remember watching it in kindergarten. Like, watching the second plane hit, and it was wild.
Or for me, it was probably the impeachment of Nixon.
I am not a crook. That's a good movie. Nixon Frost.
I don't know if I've seen it or not.
Oh, you would love
I
it.
remember all of it, though.
Oh, I'd say so. It was just about that reporter guy that ended up interviewing him and shit after Watergate or whatever. That was it Robert Frost? No, I think that's a poet. It was some Frost guy, but he interviewed. It's a really good movie. It's called Nixon Frost, and it's got like a little slash. It is really good. It details Watergate very well. It's not very biased, and then it even talks about when he got like Alzheimer's and stuff. And he had like an obsession with buying shoes, Italian shoes.
Actually, they about all do the same thing. Most of them don't get caught up in it.
Oh yeah, like the Mar-a-Lago stuff going on that went on with Trump, and then like the garage stuff and all that shit. Like, all politicians are a little dirty. It's just the level of dirtiness varies from politician to politician. Some might just litter and fuck hookers. Others might have people killed and embezzle money. It's just a different folks, different strokes type of deal.
Yeah.
Politics are wild, though. Politics have always been wild. They're always going to be wild. It's just fucking craziness. And I feel like every fucking election gets a little crazier than the last.
Just wait and see how this one's going to end
Oh,
next year.
God, I dread it. And I vote. But I still dread it because it almost seems like it doesn't matter if you vote or if you don't vote. Somebody's going to say something about something, and it's going to be something. Which, when I went to vote in 2020, I was pregnant with Beanie, and I was dressed to the nine in full gear for the party that I was supporting, because I'm surprised they let me vote. I didn't know. One, you're supposed to like have anonymity with fucking.
It was really dressed for that party I had.
Oh God, I was 18 and I just got divorced, and they had just caught him and put him in fucking jail, and I was a fucking state trooper, and I feel ashamed that I even claimed I was a state trooper, not because of the cop thing, but just because of I wasn't wearing enough clothes to represent any type of police department or any state. Like, a cheerleading uniform would have been more covering.
No, it wouldn't.
I don't know, because it was just a bra with sequins and a fucking pair of Spanx and fishnet or fucking some type of pantyhose and hooker boots. I remember what I wore, and I still had black eyes. That was a wild time in my life. That was a really, really weird time in my life. That turned into a wild time, and that wild time turned into like a really wild time, and then that turned into like, oh, I'm shooting up pills and I'm a fucking moron. And then that lasted like probably 4 months, and that was over. But I mean, still, it was fucking stupid. I look back now and I'm like, God, if I would have just stayed in fucking college and just focused and applied myself, I would be at a completely different spot than I am now. But because I chose to like waste
take the
that.
easy life.
Yeah, and I wasted an opportunity, and like now I'm back in school and I'm having to redo a bunch of shit, and I'm not getting the amount of like money I would get if I took it serious in the first place. If I wouldn't have fucked around, like I fucked around, and I look at all my friends now, and they all got good jobs, degrees. They're happy. They got everything they could fucking want, and I'm sitting over here like, yeah, I'm an award-nominated rapper. Okay, I'm a podcast host. Okay, but. And I had a decent following in the adult community, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day because, like, I don't make a lot of money off of any of this. I don't make a lot of money off of any of it yet. So it's kind of like, not that success can be really marked like that, but sometimes it feels like, you know.
Well, you
I
never
fucked
start
up.
out rich anyway. You don't get rich on the first things you do, you know.
I know. know.
Most likely, you know.
I know. I just, sometimes it feels like I look at their success and I can't be happy about my own because my own is not measurable in the length of theirs. Like, if somebody's went to school, got a degree, got a good job, you can measure that in milestones. But, like, for me, it's kind of like I don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's a weird thing when you pick a career in something like this because you never know. You don't know if it's ever going to go farther than just like, of course one day the goal is to have video, not just audio. The goal is to have a studio to do it in with more than one mic so we don't have to share a mic with a whole soundboard and all that shit. But right now all it is a mic, an interface, some headphones, and my laptop. And it's not a studio, and I mean we don't have video yet because I can't figure out how to do it. I'm working on it, but I mean it's just wild. Sometimes I look at what I'm doing and I'm a little bit apprehensive. And I think anybody trying to do anything that's not conventional has to experience that at some point. Like, I don't care if you're trying to be a drug dealer. When you first start dealing drugs, you don't know if you're going to be a good drug dealer or not. You just know you're going to try. And then some people turn into Tony Montana, and some people turn into a felon. You know, that's the way the dice rolls.
Well, I guess I was the felon part.
Yeah, but you learned shit. But we'll talk about that more on the next episode. Folks, I want to thank you for tuning in to the More Power Hour podcast. Your host, Penelope Serrano. Thank you to our guest, Mill. And we will see you folks next week.